Make sure this is hot. You good? All right, let's call this meeting to order. Could we have the roll call, please, ma'am?
Chairman Timaeus,
I'm here.
Board Member Beaver,
Here.
Board Member Hilliard is absent, Board Member Rowe,
Here.
Board Member Sorrell,
Here.
Alternate Board Member Lucas is absent, Alternate Board Member Jones.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. We have a group of 5. Takes 4 out of 5 to grant a variance. What let's do next is take up the minutes from the previous meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at those? And if there is, could I have a motion on those, please?
I so move to approve. I second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. If what we'd like to do now is everybody who's going to speak for, against, or otherwise make any other comment on any item on the agenda, which is only one, if you'd stand, raise your right hand, let's swear everybody in at one time so that we're don't have to go back and do that again.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right. Then we pick up for public hearing, file PZ 2024-334, a request to consider a variance to the perimeter landscaping requirements for a parking lot of a commercial development at 4705 Magnolia Avenue. Could we have the staff report, please?
Yes. So,
And note for the record that Mr. Hilliard is here. And are we displacing Mr. Jones for the time being as a voting member? Okay, we are.
okay.
But still consulting, advice and consent. All right. Let's have the staff report, please, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Hanny Tomei, on behalf of property owner Samir Karita, is requesting a variance to the required perimeter landscaping for a parking lot of a new construction development located at 4705 Magnolia. Section 2804006 H2A states a landscaping edge or buffer shall be required along each side of a parking lot that faces towards a public right-of-way. The applicant states that the required landscaping will leave approximately 10 feet for a drive aisle between the canopy and the landscaping, which will prevent cars and trucks from entering and exiting the property. In January of 2022, a variance was granted to omit the required 10-foot buffer between the commercial development and residential zoning districts to the west of the development and reduce the required rear building setback from 15 feet to 5 feet along the west side of the development to allow for more retail space. The initial construction plans were approved in August of 2022, which included the required 6-foot wide perimeter landscaping buffer along both Tyler Street and Magnolia Avenue. In February of 2024, as construction was underway, the design professional contacted staff to inquire about the process of removing the landscaping requirement along Magnolia. Staff informed the design professional and property owner that the request to remove the landscaping would require an approved variance. The construction is now coming to a close and the applicant is seeking a certificate of occupancy to begin operations. However, the required 6-foot perimeter landscaping buffer has not been installed without the benefit of an approved variance. On your screen is the subject property. This is the approved site plan from earlier in the year that was submitted for the construction drawings. You can note that the landscaping was included along Magnolia Avenue and Tyler. This is the property as it is today. This is that picture I warned you about. It's going down Magnolia. This is the landscaping that was installed down Tyler. We have not done an official inspection. However, those trees that you see that are taller than the bushes are not part of the approved landscaping plan. There's no trees allowed to be planted within 10 feet of power lines, so they will have to be removed. And then this is looking from Tyler down Magnolia, where the 6-foot landscape buffer should be. This is the site plan submitted by the applicant for consideration today, where they would remove the landscaping requirement. And we do have the applicant present as well as the city's traffic engineer.
Okay. The ordinance requires landscaping edge or buffer required along each side of a parking lot that faces toward the public right-of-way. Where did the 6-foot wide provision get into the system?
2002, I believe, is when the landscaping ordinance was officially adopted into our zoning ordinance, which includes the 6-foot landscape buffer for the parking lots facing the right-of-way.
Okay, I don't see a 6-foot number in what's quoted in this. No, what I'm asking is that something that is written into the ordinance, or is that something that is?
Yes, no, it is written into the ordinance. This is just the quoted section, the landscaping edge or buffer is where we quoted where it's required.
Okay. Is there any statement about the height of the landscaping?
Yes, it is a 3-foot tall bush to be continuous,
That's minimum 3 foot?
minimum 3 feet to be continuous throughout the buffer.
Okay.
Can you go back to that slide, please, ma'am? And maybe one forward.
Okay. Any other questions of the staff? We ought to know about responses from people who received
Yes.
a notice.
We did mail 24 property owner notices. We received 1 in opposition of the request stating that must need landscaping.
And in what, where in relationship to this property is that property owner?
It's 4790 Magnolia. So if I am recalling correctly, that would be, it's probably
Further
this
north.
end. Yeah, further north, probably at the opposite side.
Okay. All right. Anything else of the staff? If not, then who else would like to speak for, against, or otherwise comment? Mr. Tomei? You good?
Okay.
All right. State your name, your address, your relationship to the property, and tell us whatever you'd like.
Good afternoon, distinguished board members. My name is Heini Tomei. I'm with Golden Triangle Consulting Engineers, 85 Interstate 10 Frontage Road, Suite 204A, Beaumont, Texas, 77707. I got involved with this project about a month ago, trying to resolve this issue with the landscaping in the driveway. So I'd first like to note that I am not the design professional for this project. Neither am I the drafting person for the design professional or the owner. Unfortunately, this went through some events during the process that are not good for the design professional who passed away in May 23. And his assistant has been deeply sick for about a year and a half. So since before this construction, or almost when the construction started, going through cancer issues. And that's why after they contacted the city for the variance on the landscaping in the front, I think no additional measures were taken. The owner of the property is thinking this has been done. Obviously it hasn't. Everything has been constructed. The building is there, the pumps are there, and there is no way for these pumps to be functional with the 6-foot landscaping based on measurements I went and took in the field. It'll make that turn very tight and can't go both ways, and it can turn into a very bad situation. And if you look into that area as a whole, north and south of this property, you do not see any landscaping at the existing businesses or even the remodeled business like the one at 4790 that is insisting this one got to have landscaping when they themselves do not. And that building has been remodeled not a long time ago. Unfortunately, the owner is in a bad position. And currently, if you go to an aerial, you will see there is multiple driveways that get you into this property. There used to be one on the corner that's already been blocked on the corner of Magnolia and Tyler. The one that you see on the right side of this drawing, that is gonna stay. And there's one where the landscaping is that I spoke to Brandon about, and that has to be closed. And then there's one a little bit more to the left that will stay open. Originally, we proposed to have the landscaping in the area where the city has landscaping inside the right-of-way. And I think we got some objections from the city on that, and we sent them a revised drawing that there's no landscaping, it's just green space that already exists at that location. So the approval of this is very critical to actually opening this business and for people to be able to safely come in and out and pump gas and leave. Also, the ordinance, as stated, basically indicates that this landscaping is necessary when you have parking areas. And technically, we can argue the point that at the road, there is no parking area. It's actually gas pumps. So, but we don't want to get to the critical point. I'd rather stick to the fact that nobody has that 6-foot landscaping. The way this business is set up today matches with everything around it, both sides of the street, north and south from it. And it's not gonna change the appearance. Actually, that corner was looking pretty bad before this business came in. And if you walk into that washateria, it's like one of these state-of-the-art washaterias that the neighborhood will definitely benefit from. And if you all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
A couple of things, tell me. One is about the landscaping that's already been put in on the Tyler Street side.
Correct. Obviously, this was not brought to my attention earlier, but they'll have to remove that and replace it. So that's
Well, they have to remove some of it because some of the tree is around a power line.
Can't have trees under these power lines. So.
Well, it's not just that. And you know, again, let's talk practicality instead of letter of the law. I'm concerned about visibility coming in and out of the driveways and those curb cuts. And I know that there are some businesses in this town that have landscaping along roadways that have tried to be compliant, but they've let them grow up, or they've got landscapers that are making them pretty. But at 3 feet and higher, you start running into problems of visibility coming out of a driveway looking left most of the time. I mean,
I agree.
I can give you examples around town because I've been in them.
I can't agree more, Dana.
So, you know, it wouldn't hurt if you had, and I don't know if anybody would allow you to put low bushes or anything in those grassy areas, but the concerns I've got are more of just practicality. And even on the Tyler Street side, where you've got those spindly things that are spindly now that may not stay spindly in the future. Is there any idea what's being done to kind of moderate this so that you've got a good balance between it looks good and you can still see when you're leaving the driveway?
I mean, on the Tyler side, those trees need to come out. They cannot gonna stay. There's no question about that, because you shouldn't have them where the power lines are. And secondly, when you're getting out of that driveway, as they grow, they're gonna get wider and they're gonna block that view. And they will be replaced with shrubs that are on the list of approved plants, 3 feet tall, and the property owner need to maintain them at 3 feet tall. So that we can resolve that issue. As far as on the Magnolia side, the city did not want us to add any landscaping to the green space that's existing. So that's gonna stay green space,
So it's just grass.
correct?
Okay. Yeah, a little patchy grass. Well, there'll be, if you close a curb cut, there's just gonna be an oddity there.
I mean,
But it's
you go down
not,
that road.
it's the city's oddity. It's in the right of way. I understand it.
It's better than concrete. It still looks better than concrete, so.
So Elena, go back to the originally approved plan sheet. There we go. Mr. Tomei, I mean, when I'm looking at this, what was proposed to the city and what was approved on this construction plan, if I look at that, coming from the front of the building, we got the parking space, and then you've got a 24-foot, they'd called for 29. And then they got the canopy, and they showed on this plan 15 feet from the canopy to the property line, and you've got a measurement now of 16.7, so it looks like there's room to meet what was approved.
Well, you have 16.7, so if you take away the 6-foot landscaping with the curb and all that stuff,
Well, that's what you had in the plan sheet.
sorry,
That's what's on this plan that we're looking at.
which one? This one?
Right here, yeah,
That's not the one that, you need to look at the one we submitted, Tom.
right here. There's 15 feet right there.
Mhm.
That was the plan that was approved by the city. Now you got 16.7, so you've still got the same distance that they approved.
But if you go out on what they have now, on this picture, it looks great. But if you look out there and you put that 6-foot landscaping, you're not gonna be able to turn out of this pump to leave. You're not gonna be able to get out of there.
Well,
That's the reason we wanna take it out, so we can keep this driveway open, so
you want
people
to leave that
come in and
35
out.
feet right in that intersection, and they've already told you to, apparently to remove that 35 feet.
No, the one we removed is on the corner, that you see the yellow curb on, that's been removed.
Okay, but I'm saying in the plan, there was not supposed to be an entrance right there where you got that existing driveway.
Correct, and that's, once we get the landscaping out, then we don't need a variance for the driveway. I already discussed it with Brandon, and he wants the right one off that you can see that we took out, and that one can stay.
Well, I mean, we already let the guy move the building back on that setback line, a couple of years ago when we looked at this.
I don't know, Tom, who screwed up where, oh no, I know. I don't know who screwed up where to get this where it is, but the problem, it's already built. And we put that landscaping there. You only have about 10 feet for these cars to make that turn. A big truck cannot make that turn.
Well,
A regular truck cannot make that turn.
let me back up and reemphasize and reinforce his point. We've got this picture here. Back up to the plan, that one. In this plan, that existing driveway that you show at 35-foot width at Magnolia, that is the one that you're saying is to the left, but not at the corner. This is staying in your current plan.
Correct, that middle one is saying the 35 feet one.
So what you have then is you've got a situation in which cars, trucks, bigger trucks, may not be able to come in the right side driveway, make a hard left and get into a pump, or come out of a pump, make a hard left and come out the driveway. But you've got a situation where you're planning now a 35-foot wide driveway that goes straight into the pumps. And then 29 feet of space on the other side of those pumps where a truck or truck pulling a trailer really could make a turn and go out the side street to Tyler. What's your concern
So
with
here's one of
having
my
to make this so that universally you can make basically a U-turn around the pumps
So,
between the pumps and Magnolia?
so if you're having a big issue with the 35-foot wide drive, we can work around that. But
No, I'm
you
not
have a
having-
car coming in from Tyler, okay? And they turn in and pull into these pumps. If we have that 6-foot landscaping, we are left with about 9-10 feet for them to turn. and a truck cannot make that turn. And whoever put this together that you're seeing on the screen now, I don't think they took that into consideration when they were doing that design.
But what I'm saying is, if a truck comes in from Tyler and gets into any of the first 2.5 pumps, they can go out the 35-foot driveway without having to make that turn.
Correct.
Okay, so the only
But if that's
area
closed,
that, the only pump that's really has restriction of some larger vehicle is the Magnolia side of the pump on the very right.
but that 35-foot driveway would be closed if we put the landscaping as per the original plan. There will be no 35-foot wide driveway.
Okay,
So that truck coming in is not gonna be able to leave.
understand that, but if you leave that 35-foot driveway and put 6-foot landscaping in the areas that would require 6-foot landscaping, leaving the 30-foot driveway and the 35-foot driveway open, why do you need a variance?
Right here.
Why don't you
So-
just leave the driveway open?
So if you look at the closed driveway that we have on our drawing and the 35-foot open driveway, if we put 6 feet landscaping there, now we're tightening that turn into 10 feet. So if you're on the first or second pump from the north side, you are restricted on that 10 feet to turn.
Right,
So you won't be able to make that turn to get out. But if it is 16 feet, you can make that turn.
well, depends on which way you're going. If you come in the 30-foot driveway and go to the right side of the first north pump, then you've got 29 feet to make a turn to the left and get out on Tyler Street.
Right, but if you come into Tyler and pull in there, and you have a landscaping, then how are you gonna turn out? One of them is gonna be restricted.
What I'm seeing is if you leave the 35-foot driveway in, your only restriction is on the south side of the pump that's farthest north, the north and south sides of the pump that's second from the north, possibly the north side of the third one, but probably not. You probably make that turn and get out that 35-foot driveway.
If you come in from Tyler and pull in to any of these pumps that are gonna be facing that 6-foot landscaping, it's gonna be hard to make that turn.
That's right. So you don't get into those pumps if you come in from Tyler, or you back out onto the 29 and go.
Yeah, but you
Which
don't
is
wanna back
what
away
people
from a
do.
pump to leave. I mean,
I do.
we gotta make it practical here too, Dana. It's.
Look at any
And
Buc-ee's.
we can tell
They
people,
put
don't pull
double
here or
pumps
pull
and you
there.
have to back out.
So Elena,
Actually, you pull between the two, they have it wide enough.
the other question,
Sir.
didn't we not have something in the past that they could put so much in the right of way and so much on the property?
Yes, so 3 foot is available in the right of way. They can put 3 feet of it in the right of way. The original request that he's referencing was a request to put all 6 feet of the landscaping within the right of way. And this board does not have that ability to grant a variance to encroach all the way into a right of way. That would be a license to encroach through the engineering department, but that is a retroactive approach. It is not a permission to construct in the right of way.
Those are underground.
Looks like, though, that there's a existing sidewalk that's right at the right of way.
Yes, there's already an existing sidewalk, so that's taking up a large portion of the existing right of
Putting
way.
it in the right of way will overtake the sidewalk in this
I wouldn't,
case.
I wouldn't take that 35-foot driveway out. Or you're.
No, that's what we're proposing, to keep that driveway, close the one to the right of it, and then leave one all the way to the north. That will give them enough room to come in, come out, whether it's from Tyler or
No
Magnolia.
fuel truck that's gotta come in there too. I mean,
Yeah,
if you
for-
take that 35-foot driveway out, he's gonna, when they come in, they'll block.
Now, they can come, turn around to the left where the fuel is, and then can come back out that 35-foot driveway.
Go to that picture you just looked. So that's, we've got a little landscape island right there. Is that correct, what I'm seeing?
in the city right away, yes. We proposed to put some trees in or shrubs in there, but the city didn't like that idea.
No, he's talking right there.
He's talking in the curved area, without,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure if it's a, oh, I'm sorry, this is so loud. I'm not sure if it's a accurate island based on the required measurements of what it would technically be qualified as. It's definitely larger than the 6-foot requirement.
We're proposing to take that out if you look at the drawing we provided, because it also hinders that turn.
Okay.
I see that.
So we're gonna concrete that one.
So,
Yes, sir.
so when he comes in off of Tyler, the tanks,
The tank's gonna come off Magnolia.
Yeah,
You have to turn in off Magnolia. They can't make that sharp turn off Tyler unless they're coming from the west side.
yeah, if they came in, because they're gonna bring the truck in on Magnolia. They're not gonna go into Tyler, make a U-turn and come back down. They'll come in on Magnolia, they'll go in through the 35-foot opening and go up here, pump, fill, and go out the Tyler exit and leave.
Well, they actually can also come down back to Magnolia and turn if we have it like we're proposing it to be. So we don't want these trucks to get on a residential street. We'd rather keep them on Magnolia.
well, if he go back out, he gonna be on Residential Street.
Sorry?
If he comes in off Magnolia and then go back out, he's gonna be on the,
No, he's talking about making a U-turn back into the,
back into the,
Go around the pumps, basically,
around
around the pumps.
and back to the 35-foot wide driveway.
That
Right.
18-wheeler will never do that.
He not gonna do that.
he's gonna have a hard time making the cut around this southeast corner of the building.
I mean, he has a good wide area, so.
He'll have to back up and then make a turn, if he can make the turn, and hope that there's no
You
cars
go
there.
to, I guess, like the forward picture? Yeah, that one. Thank you.
So this is on Tyler looking down to Magnolia.
So they haven't built the sidewalk along here? They left all that concrete in there like that?
Yes,
They
sir.
didn't cut it out?
There's landscaping, I believe, right there. This is not the most updated. Isn't there landscaping on the corner some?
So this photo was actually taken on Tuesday, so.
That was an existing driveway.
It used to be a driveway that they put a
Yeah.
curb
No, the
around.
plan showed to cut that out.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a sidewalk along.
Downtown.
So the sidewalk was included on the original drawing.
Yeah,
Um,
right there, yeah.
With Tyler being a local street, while it is included on the drawing, the sidewalk is not required per the ordinance.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to pass you a few of the pictures of the neighboring properties too, so you get an idea what they look like. First picture comes from the person who checked it.
And I do want to remind the board, we do have the city's traffic engineer here, so if y'all do have questions about turn radiuses and things
Yeah.
like that,
Thank you. I was
Brandon
gonna
is the
ask
guy.
Brandon, what's that turn radius
Well,
look like?
you gotta let him come up after you finish.
Okay.
And like I said, that 35-foot wide driveway, we can modify it to, so if we get this variance, we can modify it to meet whatever engineering wants us to modify it to.
That truck in there.
And your original request, Dr. Tomei, is to remove the recommended and/or required landscape?
Correct. We want to eliminate the need for the 6-foot wide landscaping buffer on Magnolia side and keep the driveway doesn't really need a variance. The variance is just to eliminate the landscaping of Magnolia side.
Thank you, sir.
Irrespective, if you had any landscaping requirement, you'd have to take out concrete to put it in, wouldn't you?
What they were showing.
It is concrete now.
So you could actually, right here in this corner, come down this, get this in there like their plan was and come, if they're gonna leave that driveway, you could lay landscape in this corner right here. At least to put some green area to meet the ordinance.
At Tyler
To,
or
to
the other
provide as
corner?
well,
At Tyler and Magnolia, he's talking about in the curve where you've put the new,
We can do that if you want. We can
To
landscape
provide
that whole corner.
all of this was new concrete. It wasn't existing concrete that had to be, it's an
right,
existing concrete, it's all new concrete.
right.
Go back to that picture of that intersection though, Elena.
Oh, I'm sorry, wrong way.
There,
One more.
there.
That one. That's all old concrete.
This side, yes, but as far as inside where the 6-foot landscaping would have been for Magnolia side, it would have been,
A piece of it is
But what
old
I'm saying is
because
to try to get some kind of.
at this point,
landscaping.
yes, they'd have to
This
remove.
corner here could be reworked and landscape the corner.
yes, we can do that.
What curve,
That's a,
what kind of curve is that? What kind of curve is that?
So what made you shut
Would-
this particular driveway off?
Which one?
The one that's in the picture?
That's too many driveways. It's gonna make it dangerous. And when we spoke to engineering, they agreed that you don't want these 3 front driveways. And if we keep the one on the left, that provides enough in and out and turning radiuses in front of the pumps where the curb is. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend all those driveways.
no. Yeah, that one's kind of close to the intersection to start with. The one they're wanting to leave is kind of too close to the intersection, really.
Yeah.
Well,
So will these driveways there be left like they are in the picture? Or do they have to be,
no, there's one that would be closed.
One will be closed.
when you say closed, though, would it be removed?
We're gonna build a curb basically around, continue the curb and close it.
Okay.
Probably remove the concrete.
Because
And
the side of it is the sidewalk.
Is the curb is obviously not a straight line, but,
I see that.
is that simply somebody that's put a curb along the edge of the sidewalk, or is that really a curb that's on the property line? What is the meaning of that curb in terms of boundary, other than you just put it there?
I think they put it on the property line that whoever put it in there didn't pull a string or something, you know, I mean,
Okay,
I
but that's
see.
supposed to be the property line.
Yes, that should be the property line.
Okay.
If you look at the aerial we got, the property line is on the outside side of that curve.
Is there anything that shows whether there's a gap, any kind of a gap, or it looks like there's grass at least growing in part of this area, fairly narrow area between the curb and the sidewalk?
Yeah, there's some, that's an inlet right here. You see that little grassy cuff that you're looking at? That's an inlet.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about,
That's an inlet right there. That's some grass here and grass here.
Yeah, that looks like grass in the
I'm
expansion
looking at this right
joints.
here. I can't see on this
This
picture.
right here, this look like
Can I
grass.
see this? Can I see those pictures again?
Yeah, that's just some grass growing in the crack.
Looks like at the expansion joints.
Well, could be, or it could be that there's a, little gap of
That's just.
6 inches or so between,
It's about the ugliest curve I've ever seen.
yeah.
I think that's part of the right of way, original grass on the other side of the sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah, between the sidewalk and the curb.
Yeah.
And do we know that the sidewalk is on the right of way?
In this portion of Magnolia, it's mostly all in the right of way.
Okay. So if he was to try to put 3 feet on the property owner side and 3 feet into the right of way, you'd be cutting out half that sidewalk and then expanding the sidewalk in some way.
So the sidewalk along Magnolia, the requirement would be a 5-foot sidewalk. If they removed any portion of it, they would have to bring it into compliance with current ordinances. I don't believe the existing sidewalk is 5 feet. I defer to Brandon.
The problem you have also with that, if you look at the inlets that you have at Magnolia at the edge of the sidewalk, so we can't shift the sidewalk because we'll be hitting those inlets. And we'd be on top of utilities, I'm sure if there's inlets, there's piping, so.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any sidewalks against the curve on Magnolia?
Not on this side, no, sir. Not at the road, no.
Not that many sidewalks as you go down. We need more.
And that's a good point to tie into the sidewalk requirement as part of the landscaping ordinance. So had there not been one, it would have been a requirement.
Okay. Have we fairly well exhausted the conversation at this point? Any other questions for this witness? Okay. Unless you've got something else to say, we'll give you another shot at it at the end, but let's let Mr.
Only thing
Rowe
I
talk
have
to the.
else to say is this owner needs some mercy because whoever was dealing with this stuff for him from 22 till now did not do a very professional job. I have to say that there's too many engineering professionals on the board for me not to make that statement. One more time, I am not the design professional. I'm the person trying to resolve an issue
I understand that.
for
And
a developer that, I mean, this is one of many other developments they have in the city. They're not like somebody who comes in and leaves and we never see them again, so.
Well, and I've seen this name on other buildings and
It's,
some nice buildings,
yeah.
but, you know, you can, and I'm not an engineer or a design professional, but I can sit here and I can see all kinds of different options that could have been done when this was rolling through.
Should have been done, but like I said, these folks are
understand.
both technically out of commission, one completely and one partially, and nobody kept up with what they should have kept up with, so.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, folks.
All right. Can we hear from our engineer, please? Mr. Rowe had some questions for you.
Brandon,
Sir.
Sorry, Brandon, can you introduce yourself for the record, please?
Yeah, I'm Brandon Belair, the traffic engineer for City of Beaumont.
Brandon, what's the turning radius coming out of the front side of this covered area? Do you have anything?
In that gap
Yes, sir.
where it's showing that 16.7,
Yeah,
That's to the edge of the canopy, but it's not to the edge of the bollards.
yeah.
right?
So from bollards to whatever.
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to measure it. If I had to guess, there's probably about 5 foot of overhang maybe to the bollards.
No, on our design code, what's the turn radius? Ballpark, because I can't remember.
20, 25, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. And of course, it varies per vehicle.
Right.
I didn't dive into it because I had the same theory of they could just back out if they couldn't make that turn going forward. Because if you take away the pumps and just mirror that parking down and make it like a normal parking lot, you would have to back out of the space anyway to leave. So that's kind of my interpretation of it.
You mean from the storefront?
Yeah, those parking spaces at the storefront. If you were to mirror those and make it like a normal parking lot and not a gas station, you would have to back out of the spaces anyway.
That's his 3 tanks.
So if we just treat the gas pumps like a normal parking spot, you can just back out of it. There's nothing that says you have to pull forward out of them. Ideally, that driveway on the side street should have been brought down in line with the drive aisle. And I brought that up during probably one of the 15 reviews of these plans. And that was placed there because they were going to put a drive-through window in the bottom left corner of the building. So that was going to be the drive-through queue. So that's why the driveway is awkward way up there.
Drive-through on that end of the building?
Yeah, to add to that, that drive-through window was not installed.
Exactly, yeah. And I brought that up on my site visit, and they were like, yeah, they decided against it. So now they just have this awkward driveway right there.
Well, at this point, though, they've got tanks in the ground at the end of the what's showing as a 24-foot lateral drive.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put a curb cut there anyway, not over tanks.
Right.
You could put it in the right of way, like where that truck's parked.
I
You
understand,
could put it at the back of that. Drive right in.
okay. All right,
That's what he said, and they allowed them to do it for a drive-through, but they didn't do a drive-through. If that had shifted down, would have been more.
understand, but look at,
Been back.
well, they would have put the tank somewhere else, but they didn't put the tank somewhere else.
However, none of that really has any impact on landscaping along.
No, it doesn't, but it's trying to figure out how you can make something of this that's semi-compliant without ripping it all up and,
Well, I mean, I got ideas. I mean,
I know you got ideas. I got ideas too, but the question, truly the only question is there a variance granted or not granted? And or is there an amendment that we would make to the request? And a motion that contains an amendment. And so that's why the discussion has relevance, is if we offered a variance in an amended way. But if you want to take it as a pleasure of the crew, take it as a yes or no, then we can do that. But for right now, let's let this witness know if he's got any more questions.
so Brandon, the distance from this existing driveway that now is gonna remain to the intersection, you're comfortable with that?
That's okay. It's tight, but it's more of a negotiation at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're going to take out the other two. And then, as you mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of existing concrete on that side street in the right of way that was supposed to be taken out.
Right.
They were supposed to put a curb ramp
Okay.
in that radius. I've also noted that. There's multiple other issues that they're going to resolve. But yeah, I'm okay with them keeping that one label 35 feet because they're taking out the others.
And Brenda, do you have any recommendation for, I guess, like greenery recommended for magnolia, and maybe like a monkey grass or something of that nature?
That's not my area.
I'd be 3 feet tall.
I have zero landscaping in my house.
I've seen it. Monkey grass.
They initially asked to put the landscaping in the gap between the curb and the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
And our issue is that if it gets overgrown, it
Right.
then hits vehicles as they pass.
Right, and possibly impede the sidewalk.
Exactly.
And I know personally that there are some residents that are in that area that are confined to electric wheelchairs. So the resolve for that curb, I'm glad you mentioned that, is underway. But I appreciate you.
Any other questions of this witness? Hearing none. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Does anybody else want to speak for, against, or otherwise make a comment on this request for a variance? If you want to come back up, come on. Go ahead.
Just a couple quick points, letting this drag too long. The backing up is not convenient. We go to places where it's conveniently easy to go in and out, and closing this and having to back up off a pump, turn around, it takes away the meaning of the store, even its literal meaning, okay? And secondly, we might be able to come up with ideas, left, right. Projects have budgets. This project is over budget already with all the mess they went through. So if we start changing and proposing a lot of ideas, we're talking about dollars also. So if you all have suggestions, please keep the dollar amount in your minds. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to speak for, against, or otherwise make a comment on file PZ 2024-337? Hearing none, let's have some discussion among ourselves and hopefully lead up to a motion.
Oh, I was telling Jeff a while ago, we dealt with one of these at the corner of Interstate 10,
I know.
and we cut a driveway, and we cut a parking lot. We made that gentleman, because he didn't landscape it. And what I was trying to say is, even if we had to come up with a compromise, that pump right there, they're not gonna back out. You could get some landscaping right in there and do what he was supposed to do by cutting that corner out, and you can landscape from this driveway around that corner, and we get something that at least somehow complies with our ordinance
Mhm.
and and I don't think, Haney was talking about expense, I don't think, to fix this, what they should have fixed wouldn't be that much. That's my thought. I don't think so,
Possible
because
blind spot.
it's short. I mean, that's the whole reason of 3 foot. You don't let it get tall,
Yeah,
but you landscape that corner, and
personally,
This is-
I
this is
prefer
bad.
2, but
this whole, huh? 2
so
foot.
personally, I prefer 2, but
Yeah, but see, there's still like a driveway here. There's nothing to say we do this and the city goes, well, they go out there and bust that curb off and drive out that corner. There's nothing to stop them.
I understand.
Don't properly maintain the height, which then creates a blind spot. We're dealing with that in our within our neighborhood association, eliminating some of those blind spots, and it will bring, I'm sure, go to Brandon and probably come before us to mitigate that, that issue, especially being in a heavy traffic area. Like it is a heavy traffic area. It's also within the boundaries of, again, residents that depend on electric wheelchairs to get around. And when you're moving, especially if you've seen how fast they move in those chairs, I'm kind of jealous. But if you're moving it and you're not, that oncoming traffic is not visible when you're in that traffic. And so that's my only concern was we're creating a blind spot for residents that are turning off.
Yeah, well, that's why they picked in
I
the
see.
ordinance, certain shrubbery, certain heights. You can't just go plant something that's supposed to grow. I mean, that's the whole.
And to touch on that as well, something that has not been done well in the past that is in our ordinance and that we are actively working to enforce and ensure happens more frequently throughout the city is those shrubs are supposed to stop short 3 feet of drives to prevent those issues. Unfortunately, in the past, it has not always been done that way as developers plant them and they're trying to just get the development going and they just do the continuous. But there is a requirement that those shrubs stop 3 feet short of the drives to prevent such blind spots.
plus 6 is.
So,
So what you're talking about then is if there were a landscaping requirement,
you feel that,
landscaping would start 3 feet from, 3 feet from this opening. 3 feet from there and around. Okay, all right.
yeah,
And so the blockage, if there's a, okay, is from 3 feet this side of the drive to 3 feet this side of the drive. Side onto this one little area right there and the rest around. And this is open from here to here.
Yeah.
From here. No, not from here. From
well, I would even be willing, like I said, well, use your.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, Even if we said, because they're gonna cut this driveway out.
They're gonna cut it out, they're gonna block it. They're gonna block it.
Because, well,
Those-
hopefully they
those-
cut that out. I hope they cut that concrete out and cut
I hope that they
this
do too.
concrete. But right here, even if we said, because what I was saying a while ago, this would be the only pump that would.
Well, those are supports, those aren't the pumps. There's 5 pumps and you're showing
that the pump
4
right in there?
supports. No, not the way that they
I
showed.
can't tell.
Yeah, keep going back one more. Keep going. Go back to the original drawing. You got 5 pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He only built 4.
Oh, they only built 4. You're right. They only built 4.
So,
Yeah, so
so
good.
these are, even if you
Okay.
start some landscaping here, this
Yeah.
truck can get out, they can get out here. If we put a little bit of landscaping between this driveway and that one's gonna
Yeah.
come out, you can put a little landscape, that truck can still make.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of given it,
Yeah, see, it looks to me like the only thing that's gonna be, have any difficulty at all
that one.
on the inside of these 2.
And that's what I'm saying. You could still put some landscaping along front. You're only gonna hinder that one pump. But go back to your point, you can back out the other way. You got 29 feet out there.
It's still gonna be crazy, especially the washateria there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy.
but it's only single pumps, it's not double pumps. There's only gonna be one car in there.
Yeah, so I mean,
They're not stacked double.
it's not gonna be as bad as he
If they-
thinks it
If
is.
they could put 3 feet on the right of way and 3 feet in there, then
You can't get 3 in there because
You can't put 3 in the right of way because of the sidewalk.
Yeah, they'll have to redo the sidewalk if they do that. It'll push it over more.
I mean, you could, that's why if you could say shorten lessen the width, make it 4 foot instead of 6, make it whatever, but you need, or just say yes or no. So what's your pleasure, guys? You want to hear from Mr. Tomei one more time? Yeah, come on. Then let's make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, why can't they do that? Just got, why can't they do 3 feet?
Listen to and then, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna propose. At the corner of Tyler and Magnolia in that curve, we can put some landscaping there. And then, like you said, Tom, between the driveway remaining and up to the next driveway, we can put some landscaping there. As long as we can narrow that width, so we still be able to make those turns. So what we'll do, we'll get exact measurements and see how much landscaping we can keep there without having to kill that turn.
Well, you're never going to be satisfied with the amount. If you're not happy with taking out 6 feet, you're not going to be happy with taking out 3. But it would be a little bit more room.
Right, but listening to what you all are saying, which makes also sense, like Tom was saying, if you go from that driveway 3 feet and go up to the next driveway, just that section where it shows grass and it's gonna
That's
be
really,
closed.
that's all you
Yeah,
got.
if we put 3 feet in that area, and I'll have to verify in the field, but if we put, say, 2 to 3 feet of landscaping in that area, it'll bring out what's it gonna look like. You can see the landscaping. We put some on the turn, at least we'll be abiding by some spirit of this ordinance and not no
Well,
spirit
in
of
the
this.
turn, you ought to be able to do a 6 foot wide and just make it work.
So hey, this whole corner still gets me. I know, and it kind of to me goes with the landscaping.
I'll landscape that for you.
If this sidewalk comes along here, and go to Mr. Jones's comment, there's no landing here, there's no ramp here. This whole corner needs.
That's a mess.
This whole corner, well, there is one.
There is a, yeah.
This is all.
But all this looks like it ought to be removed, because we don't want, I'm guarantee you.
We
someday-
remove that.
Somebody go bust that curb off right there, 'cause it won't take nothing to knock that curb off and be coming out that hard corner.
I already made a note to remove the concrete, so
We need to-
we're gonna make sure they do that.
Do something in that corner. And I think you could landscape this, landscape that little spot right in here.
And that's really all
and
you got.
come to some kind of,
Yeah, I mean, on this side, we probably have enough to do the width. On the other side, and technically that width, really, you don't see it from the street. You're gonna see that shrub, okay? You maintain that shrub inside that 3 feet wide island, you'll be fine.
can we approve a variance that allows a 3 foot landscape instead of a 6 foot?
It is your board. You can make recommendation of what you would like to approve. I would just ask, based on the conversation that we've had here, that it be, that we have a very clear understanding of where you're wanting the landscaping installed. I just want to make sure that we all leave here clear on where that 3-foot width is going to be required along the provided plan.
So, and I agree, because as far as clarity, I don't think we want to say bring landscaping along the property line all the way to this corner.
Oh, see, I would. That's in the original plan.
I would.
The original plan, Jeff showed that.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely,
I'm not saying not bring landscaping.
I'm sorry, could you return to the microphone? Thank you.
I think we have to.
We can continue that landscaping on the inside of the property line along Tyler.
Make sure we don't impede the sidewalk.
No,
No, you won't.
you won't. The landscape will be on the backside of that sidewalk.
Landscape will be on, landscape will be
Up to that
into
driveway.
the property.
So you've landscaped the corner
And the sidewalk's on the right of way.
to follow the deal. Yeah, we'll be on the backside of the sidewalk.
So as I'm hearing it currently, it's continue the landscaping inside the property down Tyler and over down, north up Magnolia,
To
the
3 feet from the curb.
3 feet from the 35-foot drive. Does it continue on the opposite side between the two drives?
Skip the curb cut, go 3 feet, drop in,
That little short piece.
landscaping to within 3 feet of the next, after you've closed this one, to the next open curb cut. And then I'd leave that corner alone and not even put anything on it. There's no spot to put anything there. I'd leave it alone.
And allow a 3-foot
Allow a 3-foot width,
width on Magnolia.
but the 3-foot width is only in that space
centerpiece.
between the two existing driveways.
6 over here.
Okay.
Right, a continuation of the 6-foot landscape buffer down Tyler to the connection of Magnolia to the 3 foot from the 35-foot drive.
Well, what we would do then is if we worded it as a variance, we would word it as a variance to reduce. Somebody write.
Can I get you closer to the mic?
Yes, ma'am. We would word this as a variance to reduce the 6-foot width of the landscaping requirement to 3 feet between the two proposed open driveways on Magnolia at this property, 4705 Magnolia. And the variance does not affect any other portion of the boundary.
Meaning they would be required to continue the.
They comply with full landscaping requirement south of the, what's mentioned as a 35-foot curb cut, and all the way around Tyler, you just treat it as a regular
No variance.
compliance with the ordinance requirement.
Perfect.
Okay, the variance then is between those two, between the existing driveway that's listed as 35 feet and the existing driveway that's listed as 30 feet on that drawing, okay? And we'll word it in some way that's, makes the record descriptive.
Reading my mind.
All right. I thought I did that on the first run through. Okay.
Would love to hear the final draft.
You want to hear it again?
No, wait a second. So I just want to speak,
Go ahead.
Mr. Tomei, one more time. I think what we're asking right there, we'll clean that corner. When I look at that corner, even look at all these pictures, the man spent a lot of money. I think he'll dress it up and make it look nice for the neighborhood. We get rid of all that extra concrete that should have been cut out anyway. And like you said, you've come into this at the end of the project, and whoever was managing it probably just thought, hey, we'll just save some money, we won't cut that concrete out. But I think if we cut that concrete out and dress it up, put that landscape in that corner and in that little gap, I don't think you're gonna hinder the drive. And I think it.
I agree with you, Tom,
city
100%.
works with the,
I agree with you, but are we breaking the concrete on Tyler also, outside the city limit? That triangular shape?
think right here,
I don't know that
Okay.
I don't
that's
know.
our decision.
That's in the city right away.
Well, no.
it should have
yeah.
been removed. That's
Well-
right, by their plan.
But I don't. think
Gentlemen,
that's-
that concrete that you're looking at right there on that left side at Tyler, it is required to be removed per the traffic engineer.
Okay,
Once that driveway was closed, it does need to come out.
yeah. But
just talking-
the
I'm
6
not saying
foot,
we-
but the 6 foot buffer, I don't know that it has to be exactly on the boundary. You can put the 6 foot buffer inside that curve and run it inside the curve of that curb that's already there. You have to take the curb out and move the curb to do it.
Yeah, we-
It's
we-
just, the ordinance just requires a 6 foot buffer on your own property. It doesn't say it has to be right on the line.
yeah,
so-
we have enough room to play with the corner and make it
Yeah,
look nice,
absolutely.
but I agree. I
So,
mean,
so one,
it
so,
looks
so
like
one more time, let me try to word
bad.
this.
It looks bad.
Looks
And
bad.
we, and like Jeff just said, we can't, that's not,
I can't.
I'm just talking to you that
can't.
as we're looking at it, I think it would dress it up as we're looking at landscaping. And
So I'm gonna make I'm gonna word a proposal if somebody will adopt it and move passage. The proposal that I'm wording is to vary the 6 foot width of required landscaping in the area along the boundary of this 4705 Magnolia property from a point 3 feet north of the southernmost existing driveway to a point 3 feet south of the northernmost existing driveway into the property. Does that get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing that, is there somebody who wants to move approval of that?
I'm sorry, from what I got, you said vary the 6 foot width of the required landscape. Can I get that number of what we're varying it to?
You're varying it to 3 feet. All right. Or we can say reduce the required 6 foot width to 3 feet. That may be a better way to put it.
I'll second that.
Who moved? Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff moved and, did you? I thought you said you,
It's just,
never mind.
Hey,
He
it's
was
just like
right.
at an
I'll
auction,
make,
you can't
I'll
move.
make a
Okay,
motion.
Mr. Rowe moves and Mr. Hilliard seconds. Would you call the roll, please, for a vote?
Chairman Tamayo,
I'm for it.
Board Member Beaver,
for it.
Board Member Hilliard,
For.
Board Member Rowe, Board Member Sorrell.
For it.
All right, thank you. You've passed. You've got a 10-day waiting period, which you know. Is there any other business to come before us? And hearing none, we are adjourned.
Longest one agenda. If you put dwarf plants